Hi guys, Laura here. I'm here today to do some book reviews. Now, I got these a long time ago. I got these, I want to say last year at New York City Comic Con. I'm going to New York City Comic Con in about 2 weeks, so I wanted to kind of push through some of my books that I had so I can kind of get rid of them. So these are the first two that I read, and I have a couple more on my shelves that I'm going to try to add to this video before I post it. But the first two that I read were Mr. Fahrenheit by T. Michael Martin. And this book came out in April. And this is the same author that wrote the Endgames. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. It's about this town where these 3 characters live, and it is like senior year, and there starts to be some unrecorded scientific or alien activity that kind of sends the world on its head. And these 3 characters all get wrapped up with it, and in the end, they're like the only people that know what really happened because they were there when it happened. But I thought that even though I thought that the story was fun, I got so lost in the story. I don't think the plot was as strong as I would like it to be, and the characters did not grab my attention as much as I wanted it to be. It was just I really was like, it was a struggle for me to get through this book. But I feel like if you like sci-fi books or you like stuff that really focuses on the supernatural or aliens, I think that this would be good. I think I wanted to feel more connected to the characters, and I just did, and I realized that this is an arc, so a lot of stuff might change. Um, but overall, I gave it 3 stars. It was fun to read and I liked it. I didn't feel a whole lot of connection to the characters. I did like Benji a lot, and Ellie and Zico. But there was a lot, especially towards the end, it was a lot of fast pace and not a whole lot of explanation. The end happened, but I just kind of wanted more information, and I don't think that I was going to get it. So I think I was a little bit let down by the end. And I felt like the situation that happened wasn't fully explained, so I think I had to like guess a lot of it. But overall, I thought that it was a fun read, and I am happy that I read it, and I think that this is actually a standalone. I don't think there's actually any sequels coming. So I thought that for a standalone, I think it needed to be a little bit beefier for me to like actually give it 4 or 5 stars. But it wasn't bad. I like the characters. I thought the storyline was fun. It just wasn't my favorite book that I've read this year, so that's why I only gave it 3 stars. But I liked a lot of it. I thought that like there were some elements that were very interesting to read about, and I wanted to know more. So that's a strong, and it kept making me want to read. So those are my thoughts on Mr. Fahrenheit. I was glad that I gave it a read. And thank you, New York City Comic Con, for giving this book out. Again, sorry that it took me so long to read it. But the next book that I read that I also got from Comic Con was Burning Midnight by Will McIntosh, and this came out in February 2016. I really love this book. I gave this book 4 stars, and it follows this society where there are spears, and the spears impart to you magical abilities like intelligence and all this stuff. And there's this kid named Hunter, or no, Sully. And Sully was one day, many years ago, he found this one orb, and he sold it. But the orb didn't give the people who he sold it to a power. It just kind of repopulated the world with spears. So he lost out on $1 million. And then Sully meets a girl named Hunter, and they decide to go on a big score to find one of the most elusive spheres in the world, and it sends them on this amazing adventure. I love this book. I thought this book was so well done. The world building was so well done. I really loved all the characters, and it was so interesting. I did feel the ending was like a little bit rushed because so much stuff happened in the last like 50 pages of this book, and it could have been fleshed out a little bit, or even like extended and made into like a duology, which I don't ever say that, but the ending was a little bit rushed, and I was like, oh my god, I want to know what happens, but I wanted more time with the characters and more time with the world building. But it was so, 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 so good. And I really think I'm going to keep this arc, and I don't normally do that, but I really, 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 really love this book. I also might see if I can get it as like an ebook, or as a book to listen to. But it was such a fun read. If you haven't picked this book up, I highly, highly recommend it. It was great. I love the characters. I love the character of Sully so much. I thought that he was a great lead character. I think it's so hard in this day of age to find a male character that you just like and is interesting and is not perfect. I kind of didn't feel that with this book, but I definitely felt it with this book. And I thought the world building was so clear that I really just understood the world and I understood exactly what was going on. So I am going to stop this video now, and then I'm going to hopefully read a few more of these, and then I'll post more on it, and then I can do a 2016 Comic Con video. But, so stay tuned for my other thoughts on my other Comic Con, books, arcs that I got from 2015. The first one's going to be a series. It was actually the completion of the duology, The Midnight Thief by Liva Blackburn. I read The Midnight Thief, and I think in, like, July, and I really liked it. It was kind of a unique story. It was told, like, I would say it was told in the past. And it followed this society that had an infiltration of these beasts that were attacking this society. And there was a thief who was at the heart of this story, and she was kind of involved in this Assassin's Guild. But then something was revealed about her that kind of changed her whole life. I know, you've seen that story a lot. But I actually didn't expect the twist in this one. I thought it was actually a really, really cool way to do it. And I thought the second book was actually really, really fast, and it actually wrapped up the story in a really, really neat way. There is a romance in this book as well, and I think it definitely solidifies in the end. I actually didn't know that this was going to be a duology until I got to the end of it. I thought there was going to be one more book, but I thought that it really, really solidified the story. So if you're looking for a more of an in-depth review on this, just let me know. But I wanted to throw this in here because I don't want to talk spoilers in case you guys haven't read Midnight Thief. But if you're looking for kind of a unique fantasy novel with a little bit more of a court theme, like it's very, very court based because there's like a feudal system, I would say, you could almost say. But I really did like it, and I liked that it was only a duology. The first book also was really, really fast, and the characters were easy to like. So I highly recommend you give, and the first book is Midnight Thief, and this is Daughters of Dusk. And I actually really, really enjoyed it, and I gave this book 4 stars. And then the last book was actually a book that I got also at Comic Con last year, and it is Starfight by Melissa Landers. She also wrote the Alienated series, and I actually love those covers. So when I saw this at Comic Con, I had to get it. And I absolutely adored this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It was such a pleasant surprise. I sometimes have issues with sci-fi, pure science fiction novels because it's a lot of information that doesn't always make sense to me. But this book was a really, really easy to understand and follow sci-fi novel. It follows these 2 characters, Solera and Dorian, and they have a past history together. And Solera is basically a criminal on this thing, and Dorian is a very, very wealthy. So they kind of get tangled up into this mystery and this, thing that kind of sends them on a cross world adventure. And there's a lot of twists and turns that eventually develops into a lot more. And this book is actually going to be a bunch of standalone novels. So it's like it follows 2 people. So this book follows these 2. And you met 4 to 5 people in this little ragtag bunch of heroes. And every book, I think, is going to focus on 2 of them. So the next book, Starbound, comes out in January. But I really, really liked it. I love the characters. I thought it was such a fast-paced read, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it was a very, very easy book to read. It really didn't focus on the sci-fi as much, but it was definitely a character-driven novel. I can relate it kind of to These Broken Stars by Megan Spooner and Amy Kaufman, but it's just like a lighter novel, and it doesn't as focus on the science as much, but the mystery and the character development really, really caught my attention, and I had to read more, which I think is really, really good for a sci-fi novel. It was very, very fast-paced, and the characters just really, really captured my heart, and I'm really, really excited for Starbound when it comes out in January, and I'll definitely be reading it. But I hope you guys like. These are most of the arcs that I read from 2015. Still have a couple of them, but I'm probably gonna move on to the books from Comic Con 2016. But these were the books that I really were like my goal books. I still want to read Court of Fives by Kate Elliott, and I still want to read a few of my more middle grade novels. They will get read eventually. They'll be popping up in videos here and there, and I will mention them. But I just wanted to put this video up with all of these. But as always, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later.